You ever wake up in the middle of the night with that strange feeling like something isn't quite right? The air feels off, the shadows in your room seem darker, and for some reason, you just know you're not alone. That's exactly what happened to Ryan. Only this time, he had proof. Because at 3 a.m., his security camera recorded something so disturbing that even he refuses to watch it again. And after hearing this story, you might not want to either. It started with strange noises. Ryan wasn't the kind of guy to believe in ghosts. He was logical, skeptical. If something weird happened, he found an explanation for it. But for weeks, something had been wrong in his house. It started small, random noises at night, doors creaking open on their own. At first, he brushed it off. Old houses make weird noises, right? No big deal. Then, his dog, Max, started acting strange. Max would stare at empty corners, growling low in his throat. Some nights, he refused to sleep in Ryan's room. Instead, he'd sit by the door, ears perked up, watching something. Something Ryan couldn't see. That was weird. But what really pushed Ryan over the edge was the footprints. One morning, after another restless night, he found a set of muddy footprints leading from his front door to the hallway. The problem? They weren't his, and the front door had been locked all night. The camera setup. That was the moment Ryan decided he needed answers. So, he set up a security camera in his living room, just to put his mind at ease. Maybe it was just his imagination. Maybe Max was getting old and paranoid. Or maybe it was something else. The camera was motion activated, meaning it would only record if something moved. He placed it on a shelf, aimed it toward the hallway, and went to bed. He never expected to capture anything. But then, 3 a.m. happened. The footage. The next morning, Ryan checked his phone. There was a notification. Motion detected at 3:07 a.m. His stomach tightened as he tapped on the video. The footage started normal. The living room was still, silent. The only movement came from the curtains, swaying slightly from the ceiling fan. Then, at the 0:15 mark, Max appeared. He walked into the frame, ears low, tail tucked. He sniffed the air, let out a small whimper, and backed away, like he sensed something before it even arrived. Ryan frowned. Max never acted like that before. Then, at 0:32, the temperature in the room seemed to drop. You couldn't see it, but you could feel it, the way the air shifted, the way the shadows deepened. Even through the screen, something was off. And then, at a 0:47, it happened. The hallway light flickered, for just a second. And when it turned back on, there was a figure standing at the end of the hall. The thing in the hallway. Ryan nearly dropped his phone. He rewound the footage, heart pounding. The figure wasn't moving. It was just standing there, barely visible in the dim light. Tall, unnaturally thin, its head tilted slightly, as if listening. Ryan's breath hitched. He knew. He knew. No one had been in his house. He lived alone. His doors were locked. There was no way someone could have been inside. But there it was, motionless, watching. Then, at 1:12, the thing did something that made Ryan's blood run cold. It took a step forward. And then, it disappeared. Not walked away, not faded. It just vanished, like it had never been there at all. The shadow in the doorway. Ryan sat frozen for what felt like hours. His mind raced through explanations. Glitch? A trick of the light? Some kind of interference? But deep down, he knew. This wasn't a malfunction. It wasn't a mistake. Something had been in his house, and he had proof. But the nightmare wasn't over. Because when he glanced back at his phone, he saw something he had missed before, right at the very end of the footage. As the video cut to black, for one less than a second. There was a flash of movement near the doorway, a shape, a face, right next to the camera, almost like it had known it was being watched, like it had leaned in and looked right into the lens. The final sign. Ryan couldn't sleep. Max avoided the hallway. The footprints came back. Every night at 3:07 a.m. the light flickered. It was still there, watching, waiting. Thought, do you believe now? The footage is out there, but be warned. If you feel watched at 3 a.m., if the lights flicker, if whispers fill the dark, turn off your camera. Some things shouldn't be seen, and if you see it sees you too. Subscribe for more scares, but keep the lights on.